after me. I, Ellen Hoffer,
I, Ellen Hopper,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently discharge
and diligently discharge
my duties as a member
my duties as a member
of the Oakwood Cemetery Board
of the Oakwood Cemetery Board
for the City of Warsaw, Indiana,
for the City of Warsaw, Indiana,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability. Thank you very kindly.
I have you sign that.
Just so you know, after her, that you have to draw blood and there's other things, you know.
Really?
Jerry, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
Good. All right, very good.
Very much, sir. Have a
Would
Welcome
you,
back.
would you like me to take care of that?
Yeah.
You bet.
Perfect. Hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having
Appreciate
us. Take care, have a good evening.
Thank you, ma'am. I
Yep.
appreciate you doing this again.
Yeah.
I was, I know everything's on, but I was looking and I thought, well, your term will end up in 2027. I wonder if I'll be here. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah, it is cool.
Okay, so we've got approval of the minutes for, we did not meet in December, but we have approval of minutes for the November 3rd meeting.
Correct. You should have, in some of your paperwork there, should have been November, you have the paperwork for November, since it's been a while, if you need to look at it. I didn't grab me one, but you have it, just, she printed it off for you in the stats.
I move that we accept these minutes.
Okay. All right. Minutes are approved then,
As
so
long as you approve them.
I approve them, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because you didn't do the all in
Okay.
favor, okay,
okay.
and you're ready for me.
Yes.
So is there for the news or whatever, Ellen goes way back, so you know, just not to get into it. Well, Ellen, when I started 15 years ago, was my gatekeeper. Okay, back then, the city didn't have automatic gates. So I would have, she did it years before me also.
Oh, yeah.
It's generation,
Yeah.
family has done it. So the sexton would have to open every morning, and then the gatekeeper would close every night. And you'd have to tour in and drive and hope everybody was out of there. And in my career, it was, hey, Hal, somebody's locked in. I'd have people upset, I'd have to go lock them out because they'd be somewhere you missed them. And I finally, she was kind of moving on and vacation and stuff, and I thought, I'm putting automatics on. Because the automatics, if you're locked in, you move up the sign, it opens up and lets you out. So I had one, and my best story being locked in was a husband and wife. She was so mad. I opened the gates, and she would not get in the car. She walked out the walkway, her husband had to pick her outside. And he just looked at me, and I was trying not to laugh. It was just so hilarious. I just wanted to show you. So we go back quite a bit, so thank you.
I did about 36 years.
Okay, I'd say I was trying to find it, and I could not. Thank you for that, I wanted to make sure I write that down.
Roughly.
And it was family before that, correct?
My grandfather started it.
Yeah, that's, so. And if you ever want to come back, I can dismantle it. Okay, well, it's okay, we won't. All right,
Maybe 25 years. Because I had to stop in 2012 when I started back at the post office.
gotcha. I went over in the old business, and you've already approved the minutes and stuff in November. And the only thing is, I just wanted to bring it up, you and I need to get together more for the ash burials in the veteran, if we're gonna.
Okay.
Keep that on your mind, nothing urgent, but we
Okay.
just, if we're gonna do it, whatever, as I'm planning with my budget money and what's going on.
Okay,
And we will come to you guys also with that, because I'll need your approval, because we'll probably be doing the expense of putting it in.
okay,
And so you know, it's a cremation garden, is what we're looking at for veterans, so they don't take up the full lots, is what we're doing. Expense, honestly, there won't be much. As how I'm doing cremation gardens now, to compare, when I built Legion 2, Legion 1 was there when I was there 15 years ago. When I developed 2, I just kind of modeled it after 1. Changed it a little more just into 2 spaces. I don't know the total figures, but I know the concrete cost me like $20,000. I had to bring in sod, and of course in there were the columbariums. Cremation 3 might have cost me 3 of us in hours, maybe 4 hours. I had the pens, they pay for the foundation. It's so much cheaper for us, and we make more because now they pay for their foundation, because the whole idea of the new cremation garden is because they want bigger stones, which we're gonna talk about that more a little later. So they pay for their foundation for their stone. I make them a little bigger because I want them all 2 foot wide, so we just mow down it with the stand-up. See, so we're not going in and out. We still weed whack, whatever. But it's so much cheaper for me to put in a cremation garden, and it's what the people want. Because now they're half the size of a full grave, and they can do a full stone of a single lot. Okay, just so you know. So my idea, and we'll kick it around a little bit because he's in tune with the Legion guys and different stuff, is to make one out there similar. I'm going to say that. We're going to do some, I'm already getting ready to do some stuff around the flags and things there, so which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to, in the minutes it was in there and it's not on the agenda. So of course Scott's done. We're going to old business. Old business kind of reflects an old and new, and the first one there is the water leaks. This year, it cost me over $1,000 what I had budgeted for water, and that's due to leaks. And I apologize, I didn't bring the map. What I'm going to ask you, and this is old and new, and I'm sorry I put them together. These lines are so bad, I don't know how to describe them. There's no mapping, there's nothing. They're galvanized, some are plastic, it's all different stuff, okay? And I knew it was going to go. I talked to Joe a long time about it, and it's just years, and back in the day, they just kind of put stuff in, and it really is like what they had. I don't know how else to say this nicely. Well, in this mix, I have had 3 major leaks come into the office, to the chapel in the office. That water I have to have on year-round, okay? We just had one, the second one between the chapel and the office, right when winter started, that we had to dig down and fix. And my water bill for that was $600. Because it had been running, I forget how many thousands of gallons. We created a hole underneath when we found it. It was plastic, but had a hole in it. Last year, went up by the office, same thing. It happened to be somebody that was back by the preacher stand and noticed it, called me. And that bill was $400 to $500 then. We had one out closer to the road. And I'm just trying to describe what's going on here. And like I say, nothing against the other sextons of people doing it. It's just not done correctly. We had a leak out in the west field, okay, towards the front. So we proceed to dig. Me and another gentleman, we hand dig because we have no idea what depth. And we should be 3 feet in that, but you never know. So we're hand digging. So if you can picture, that west side runs like this. This is Sheridan offices here. Okay, the leak's right up in here. The leak was heading towards the field. See your face. I'm like, why? I can witch. I know how to witch. I've witched, and there's lines running, but this one's running towards that field, to property we don't know. Why? I run into this stuff all the time. I witched, if you know what witching is with the thing. I witched for probably 2 days and figured out that the main line, I believe, runs from my office straight out throughout to the north-south and then pans off. But depth, we've repaired them out there as shallow as 2 feet and as deep as 4. No shut-offs out in there. There's no way to control the system in 80–90% of that cemetery. The last 2 sections are on a different line than newer. So what I'm asking you is for me to proceed. What I want to do, and I'm guessing it's going to cost because I'm going to have to bore, is I want to run a new line from Sheridan. I want to bring it up, once again, now, picture this as the chapel and the chapel parking lot, okay? So I want to bring a new line in. I want to put a filling station, a water filling station in here. 2 or 3 hydrants, 3 feet deep up here that I don't have to turn off. Or I can go shallow and drain and turn off with a drain system in it, in concrete, right off that chapel parking lot. Continue, pick up a new line into the chapel, pick up a new line into the office, and not rehook this old section. We still have water out the other end of the cemetery on the east side. This will put the west side. Pros and cons, I have a leak now that's been most of the summer. They haven't been able to come fix me. It's an 1.5 inch line. And it runs around Legion 1. I've already repaired one around Legion 1, an inch line. Now this is 1.5 inch. I have no idea what it goes to, but it was a major leak. They just haven't had, I can't fix the big ones, I can the small ones. So they've not been able to get to me. So I've been without water in 85% of the cemetery most of the summer. Little complaints at the beginning. Finally told them, hey, don't have whatever. They started bringing containers because they could get it off the chapel hydrant. There's two hooked onto the chapel. They could get it out there and they're okay. So my thing is to repair the whole cemetery. I don't think we want to go there with the amount of money that it's going to cost because it's all boring. We don't know what we're going to hit. All new extended valves, different stuff. So I would like to put filling stations in there to do that, but then keep the water out on the west side, and I'm getting ready to add another line if I can find somebody to do it for me. Because when I put in that new road, I have conduit underneath all sections of that new road. So the fill comes in by Grant Street, that I can put a hub in there, and then I can run lines through. And I want shutoffs in there, then I can control stuff. Because right now, the one that comes in Grant runs all the way down through the cemetery to the shop and then comes back.
So you want to start your new line on Sheridan and then run it to the chapel?
I want to run it to the chapel parking
and then
lot.
to the office?
No, I want to run it to right by the chapel parking lot,
Okay.
and then I want to run it into the chapel, and then I want to run it into the office. So what I'm asking is for your approval to go look for a quote for this. If you agree with me, I'm open for suggestions. But it's either that or the board allows me to put quite a bit of money in for these leaks. It's getting worse every year. I budgeted, if you see in there lines, we normally it's like 2,700, something like 25, I forget, 2,500, 2,600. Anyway, and this year it was 3,708. And it was $1,008.94 I went over what I normally budget. Now, that didn't put me in a pickle, it comes out of a certain account. What I do is with the accounts, when you put it in, then I break it down so I know what I'm spending. I mean, we were okay money-wise, I had enough in there, but I'm just saying is I'm gonna have to start protecting that if we keep repairing these lines. And if there's bigger ones, unless I can find somebody beside Mr. Pazika, because they're so busy this year, then they sit without being fixed. If they're 3/4 lines, we fix them. I have no problem doing that. But with the bigger ones, I don't have the tools or the knowledge, I can't flex it, and they have to take different clamps and. But so you know, the line coming from Sheridan to my office in that whole section has been repaired 6 different places. So I'm just throwing it out to you. I pre-warned ahead of time, it's just getting worse. Can we deal with it? Yep, but it's gonna cost money. So we either spend money up front and eliminate that stuff out there and just have a station there and then have the lines, the last 2 road lines, or we start repairing, start taking sections and start running new. Now,
So your question is to seek bids on this, is that what you're?
I want to seek somebody, get somebody and try to get you a price. I'm not going to go do it ahead of time because this is something I'm going to have to plan on and budget and get you guys is okay, and then of course get the council's okay to go pursue onto this. I'm just asking your permission for me to do it, if you agree with this idea.
Is that, do we move a motion on that? Or?
I would like one just so I can go,
Sure.
because your support helps me
Absolutely.
with them, follow me?
Sure.
Because this isn't my cemetery.
Right.
I just want to give you the thing. And then to throw in, just so you know, as you come in on Legion, come through, and then 58, 50, 57, 58, 59, we had one by the big oak tree, had an open lot by a family, no problem. We started digging, cut the line right between. I had to go get stuff and do plumbing around the hole to get the vault in. There's just no rhyme or reason to how they do stuff here. And it's, what's really sad is there's no documentation on any of it. I mean, I've been documenting as we've been fixing, but I might hit galvanized, I might have plastic. The old section, up in the old area, a lot of that's been off, because when I got there, their water bill was $1,000 something, and Mario Sahagan decided to buy the cheapest plastic possible. And in one section, I repaired it 6 times, and I went enough. I cut it off. So we haven't had water in the old part for quite a while. To the east, we have in the old section, but
Well, I would like to move that we allow you to seek bids on this project.
You agree with what I'm trying to do?
I
I mean,
do,
with the fill stations, that's okay?
So
absolutely.
you're basically going to have one station where you can get water.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like we're gonna have a jam, but I thought put 2 or 3 hydrants, make it look nice, not just hydrants sticking out there.
Absolutely.
Concrete pad, we're gonna cut a drain in, maybe protect it with some,
I mean, how all of the stuff out in the cemetery where you could get water, which half the time you can't get water. It doesn't serve any important function for the maintenance of the cemetery.
it
right?
does.
It
But-
does?
But I have a 60-gallon water tank
Okay,
on the truck.
maybe that's, okay.
Yeah, well, the mayor asked the same thing, what do you use water for? You have no idea.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm just-
Graves, different stuff, yeah. we
but
use
as long
water
as
all
you
the
have
time.
another way of pouring water out there,
Yep. What we do is, we have a pickup truck that has a 60-gallon in that we use in the winter, we shoot brine with.
sure.
Okay, we have nozzles and stuff or whatever. We clean it out and then turn it out, and then I have, at the pump, we can use the same pump system with a hose, and we water with it. And I have another small one I can put in a gator also. So.
But if I want to get water to put on flowers in it, I just go to this water
You would just
station
have to have a little container.
and go to the water.
They're not gonna be every
Wait,
40, 60 feet.
Absolutely.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me.
I think it would save the city overall quite a bit of money. I mean, there's gonna be some initial cost up front. We might be able to trench some of it, cause I kinda know where some stuff, there's just so much in this ground that's not marked. You know what I mean? It's insane. I think I probably can trench from Sheridan to where I wanna put this water station. I believe I can because several years ago, we ran wire out because I had to get electric out to the front. We ran it from the chapel along the fence and then we went into the east side and then, at that time, Larry had a trencher and we cut a trench through. We didn't go 3 foot deep, but I'm guessing we'll be okay where it's at. Because this electrical line isn't used now because we have a pole out there now to run the gates and stuff.
Would you at some point, would you start removing all of the spigots out in the cemetery then, for sake of confusion?
That's question number 2.
That's question number
Because
2, yeah.
it could be fired up, it might work. With this big one here, this year would have been, I gotta count, I'm sorry. I believe was 4 repairs I did this year, counting this one if it was fixed, this big one. 5, excuse me, 5. I believe. Because what happens is, $1,000, how come $1,000? You don't know where it's at.
You don't know where the water's.
You don't even know if it's leaking. We had one that I was surprised out in the north-south, it started bubbling up. So we start with shovels, because we blow lines out every year. Every year we hook big air to it, we did this year, same thing, we blow them all out to get them dry, so they can't crack and break. But we hand dig, because a lot of them, they just didn't spend the time to put them deep. And one employee and I started digging, we dug and dug, and it was 4 feet down the ground. And it took that long to bubble up. But then next road over, we did one, I hit it 1.5 feet. So, I mean, I've asked for help and I get the water company, they have little hearing things, you can try to hear it run and eliminate, I mean, they can't come in, it's private really. They try to help us what they can, but there's just no way to, you can tell by the meter if you're leaking, but. And I'm holding my breath, the water bill is due here, that I get one and I don't get the notice, I'm hoping there's not another one with that office. Only thing on now is that office, chapel office. Because they send you a letter, you're over usage, than what you normally use. And I'm hoping we're back down and I don't have another $600. If I do, then I have another leak popping up somewhere. And that's the one, shutting off the cemetery doesn't bother me as much as I gotta have water at that chapel office. I have to. So, yeah, you've got a motion on the
Yeah, I have a
thing.
Yeah.
motion.
Okay, we're
Any
okay.
other discussion?
Nope,
Second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm in favor, so, yeah, I would,
Okay, I was trying to find inquiries of who does that or who I need to get, if it's just a plumbing service and they come in or if there's somebody that specializes in it. I know Derry does boring, they bored the big drain out the back for me, that we put in, but, I will get on that then. Probably this year, no. I mean, we'll get a quote or get an idea, what we have to do. But it won't be done this year because budget's already been approved and funding, because I'm guessing this will be a few $1,000s to do. Because there's not a whole lot we can do. Follow me, the drain, the concrete, stuff like that, we can all take care of, but as far as connections, boring, to get in what they're gonna do, probably not. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, because I gotta go from chapel to office, and there's all sorts of stuff around cremation too. I know where the water line is, it's right underneath them columbariums, because they ripped it up, I had to repair it. And there's actually stuff, the electric and stuff I know is in the cremation garden, because they came out and marked everything except for gas. And they told me the electric was under 3 feet down, I didn't have to worry about it. First hole we dug went, the electric was that far down, it could kill my employee. So we have those marked out. So I know where a lot of the stuff is in there, but I gotta get through. The only cool thing is we own 6 feet on the other side of that fence. Follow me?
So what if we put, that way you could put a known
We could run,
new
we could.
system all the way.
We could bore, my theory and my construction background is being that we own 6 feet, they put the 6 feet in, and we have, well, we'll get into that later, but anyway, we could bore down through there knowing we're not gonna hit nothing and tap in, follow me?
Then you'd have a known system, all new system all the way.
And we know right
That'd
where
be
it
the
was.
smart thing
They could
to do.
fall right down that fence row. Mhm. So
Okay.
that's my game plan if I would, got you guys' permission.
I think that's
But
what
two
I'd do.
reasons, could I got a quote? Yes, but one, I want your idea, I want your opinions on my ideas, follow me? Yeah, I've thought about it a long time, but it's the same with my guys. We go into a project, yeah, I'm the boss, this is how we can do it, but I don't mind criticism. These guys are out in the field, they know what they're doing, I trust my guys, so I always ask opinions, because I could be totally left field. So this is one, it's gonna be a lot of expense, and is it the right thing to do? You know, I can honestly say I think it is, but that's why I wanted you guys. So we will proceed. Well, enough of that. Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll move on into unfinished business two. This is on, we can't call it cold storage because that freaks people out. The storage building, and we don't have to call it cold. There's a reason. My guys, I checked on metal on the inside, and it was actually cheaper for me to do plywood. We insulated the whole thing, put the purlins on, taught my guys some construction skills. It's all done in OSB. With that, I was pretty good and diligent on my perm account, and I had some money left over, so I called Alliance, and I trust Dave Reuter a lot, and I said, so, hey, I'd like to keep those, you know, like the storage unit out there, at least 40 degrees. Electric? He goes, don't do electric. And I said, well, then get your tail out here and tell me what we need. We had gas back there, anyway. He gave me a quote. He put the last 2 bays of the main shop, I didn't have heat in, it's insulated and done, that's insulated. For the 2 heaters, an install was $7,000. It was $3,500 a unit. They're installed and going, so now we have heat in both of those, which is nice.
Good.
Which is gonna keep the equipment a lot nicer. So the building is, that part done. We're still working on organizing, we're getting real close. And with this, and I don't know if it's in there, I'm just gonna go on with it. By doing this, the double garage has been cleared out, and now some things are getting put back in, but we almost, you know, where we put the flowers and stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do that. The chapel is real close to being cleared out with equipment. The shop is what we're organizing. This is all a big project, so you know, and we hope you come out when we're done. But we have done some more shelving, cleaned up, our mowers have a home. Everything is having a home now, that we don't have to go put it away somewhere, whatever. Our mowers are in a line in the main shop, blocked up with the back wheels, we drop them, they'll service them, so everything is finding a home. Cold storage, we moved the big sucker out there, so we can pull that in and out. Some other stuff we may use, different stuff, and we're starting to build shelves. Instead of buy shelves, I've taught them how to make the brackets, and we're getting everything organized and put up in shelves. And we're coming out where we're still in room, which we probably can park a vehicle in there if we have to. So we're getting there. So when we're done, I'll be glad if you come out and you can see the progress we've done. A lot of things, City Hall here had a big metal gas container cabinet that they didn't want, OSHA approved container, which I was looking for another one. So I have that, so all our supplies are gonna meet code, everything's gonna be in where they need to be and different stuff. And so we're going from one end of the building to the other, how we're really doing that. The one big thing we don't have done yet is where oil storage is. We're gonna be working on that next. But we're just getting everything in a home where it needs to be. I'm big on that, where you grab and put away, grab, put away, so we know where everything's at. So furthermore, that's coming thing, but the storage unit is complete. The only thing it's lacking, the gutter guy didn't make it last year. Hopefully we can get him here this year, because I want to put gutters on it, so it doesn't come inside. It doesn't have a concrete floor in it, it has crushed concrete, and I don't see a need for a concrete floor right now. So, but I want to get gutters on to get the water away. So anyway, so that's part of 2. Leaf season, you can see there in 2020, we took out 98 loads of leaves. We did most of it ourselves because if you noticed, all the leaves fell at the one time and it was warm. So every resident in Warsaw had grandma and grandpa raking leaves, and Dustin had a heck of a time staying caught up. They're gracious at coming in. Before season started, we had started, and Dustin came out and got a couple loads with the big one-armed sucker. But we basically took most of them out. The guys did a great job getting them out. We will have a little bit in the spring. We had some still fall late, but other than that, turned out really well. We're gonna skip 4 right now, and we'll go into new business. Of course, Ellen's already been sweared in. Christmas lights downtown. I think was a success. They did some new wiring. I come up to check, because we always check and we fix, and we had sections on and off, and I'm not too sure. I believe that was electrical, because we have now pulled the lights off. We only had maybe 10 strands that were bad. We had a couple cut. So I will get with the electrician and see if everything's still fine kosher. They have them on timers now, which is really cool. We will not have to buy lights for quite a while. The park, which you saw, was very beautiful. They went all to LEDs, which is really, really cool. And they said that they had a bunch of standard lights, and they gave me over 1,000 rolls. I mean, so we have plenty of lights, which is nice. He goes, you go on LED, and I'm like, there's no reason. I mean, for what these were, and actually they'll last longer being on timers if they're not on during the day. So we have that. Wood giveaway, as you can see on there, we're getting stuff cleaned up and back. We're still splitting quite a bit. So far, we've not given away much, but that's weather. It seems to run last minute. I mean, even though they know they can get a load a month, they don't seem to come. They wait until it's real cold to get. So there's plenty of wood still to give away. Excuse me. Just want to let you know the deer hunters are hunting again. They've been coming back off and on. They call me, so you know how that works. We dummy lock the gate. They park back behind their shop there. They do their hunting and they lock their way out, and they give me a text when they're done. So.
Do they have to get permission from the police department?
Not only permission, they have to get, it has to be documented.
Yes.
They have to have a cell phone on them to be
Okay.
called any given time. Their arrows have to be marked. Yeah, it's all very,
Okay.
it's done very,
Yeah, because, before, when I worked at the police department, there was this big
Well,
massive
yep,
map, and everything was logged out, and people had to sign in and
Yep.
register, okay.
yeah, and I don't ask that questions, but the ones I get are the same ones
Okay.
that hunt, because they like it. Instead of parking at the church on the other side, they like me at, because in this, Jeff has done, Gross has done a really good job in the task force team on this. There's a lot of rules. They can't field dress. Okay, if they're dragging one out and there's people, they have to drag it back in. It's almost like a ninja stealth, hunting. They don't want to upset people. If what I was told, if one goes in somebody's yard and they have an issue, they would call DNR. DNR would come get it and get it out. And a lot of these guys that hunt me, yeah, they fill up theirs. It's more about does. They're allowed a buck here and there, but the test isn't real tough. But the people that do that ask a lot of questions to make sure you're doing it for right season. And a lot of guys that hunt with me, they donate a lot of it, which is really cool, I think, as they take out. So
Does it go to a food bank or what?
yeah, there's
Okay.
evidently some butchers that will do it, and they
Okay.
go to food banks, and well, he's a principal now. I got 1 or 2 teachers who's been there for years out there. But they'll text me, hey, can we hunt tonight? Yep. And so my guy, I'll say, hey, got a hunter. They dummy lock the gate, and then the guys lock up for me, and I know when they leave, and, which they don't really have to do that. They do that out of courtesy, just to make sure I know it's locked and ready to go, because the park and I share that area. But they can pull back there, and there's not people at that time back in the greenway and stuff, so they can do their business and get the deer out without people. And it just works. It really does, and I don't mind at all. So, and we're also now in control of that woods, because that was donated to the city for us for the cemetery. So that 14 acres on the other side of my fence, the city owns. So it just works. Never had a problem before, but it's just nice that we have it now and there's no issues. So anyway, that's been going pretty well. I don't know totals. I don't ask. Every once in a while, as a thank you, they'll bring some deer meat. My wife doesn't like it, so I don't take it home, but the guys will take it.
Oh, man, call me.
Yeah, you like it? We get
Absolutely.
some. Every once in a while, they drop it off. I've already talked about 5. That kind of went in with the storage unit above. That's just, we're reorganizing the different places. We get done, we'll let you know. 6 is what I told you about the heaters that we put in there, good price. 1, it's not on there, and I need some voting on. Cremation 3. If you look at your totals first, I guess, if you go back and look at your year-end totals, and you look at body burials to cremation, okay, as you can see, body burials 56, cremation is now up to 44%. That is 10% higher than last year, just so you know, okay? It's a lot. Nothing wrong with that, I'm just want to let you know. So there's going to be more and more cremation gardens. With that, monument companies wants to sell monuments, okay? Given fact, they want to make money. And I'm trying to help them by allowing the bigger tablets over there, okay, in cremation 3, okay? So they have bigger tablet spaces. But I'm running into small problems, not big, but there's a couple little clarifications. If you have this little one, and we won't bore you, but in here is cremation 1, 2, and 3, okay? There is one thing, if you can open it to 3, because there's one thing I want changed in there. But basically, what's happening now is, instead of buying 1 lot, which allows 3 cremations on, families are buying 2, 3, okay, whatever, side by side. Totally get it, nothing wrong with that. But with that, they want stones for everybody, one stone. Cheaper. I get it, okay? Now, if we follow the main rules, and the more lots you own, the taller you can get. Okay? I don't allow it now, but I gotta have you guys' permission, if you will. Okay? So basically what I wanna do, I didn't bring a regular rule. After you get past 1 lot is very simple. You can only go 36. When we move that, you guys have already approved to allow us to go to 48. People want a little more room. They don't care about the big part of the concrete. Okay, so instead of a foot, they have 6 inches. We still do the 6, the max we can do on the side. Okay, so in here, I don't care about base length. So if you go to 2 lot, it can be longer. 3 lot, your bases can be longer. 4 lot, you can be longer, okay? Meaning you can have a longer base to have more tablet space. But the problem with that, you start at a single one at 30, okay? Then you go up to 40, and then you go up, I think it's 54, whatever. What I want you to propose and ask you to vote on is, I don't care about the base length, I don't care about the tablet length, but I don't want the combined to exceed 30 inches. I don't want to get the tall ones, okay? That's the first one I want you to vote on. I'll go back if you want, because the second one follows. You allow me to, out in the regular cemetery, if they want a bigger stone, and they go back row, you've allowed me to okay that without bringing it to you guys, so they don't have to wait that period of time. So what that means out in the regular cemetery is we have the aisles in the middle, and if they want to go to big a tablet, it doesn't affect us to dig. And it doesn't block anybody, because on the other side of the aisle, the stone's facing the other way, okay? But I don't want anybody being blocked out in front. That's in the normal cemetery. This is the same theory. In the first cremation 3, I had somebody that wanted a tower and a taller one, their back row. I'm okay with that. But I want you guys' permission to do that the same as I do full bodies. That's the second part of it, okay? And the last one is, and one we voted on that I want to change, if you look in here, number 2, the very first line, no vertical monuments will be more than 48 inches. I want that dropped to 30. The reason is, everybody wants to see their loved ones and their stones. I start allowing bigger ones on other ones. If the family chooses behind to go smaller when they do, but 30 inches you're up, you can see. I don't want blockage, is what I don't want. So what I'm saying is if I allow them to go this way, they're gonna be able to get everybody's name on if I stay to 30 inches with the base and the top. That make sense?
Absolutely.
So that, there's a couple things, those are the three things that I would like you to approve, if you're okay with that. If you have any questions, I want to open up for questions to make sure everybody's clarified on what I'm telling you. And that will go into the rules of cremation 3. Any questions? You got any questions?
I have one,
That's okay, that's where
and
you
it's just to make sure I understand the motion that was approved earlier.
Okay,
Okay, for the water line.
yeah,
He wants to update the line from the chapel parking lot to the chapel to the office.
I want to update, it comes off, the main line comes from Sheridan Street, okay?
Okay.
So I want to update the line from Sheridan Street to come in to pick up the chapel and the office. That water is on all year round. It's deep enough, it doesn't freeze. The rest of it we blow out. I got to have it for bathrooms and stuff like that. Is what I
Okay.
mean. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I was going to ask why you're planning on stretching to Sheridan Street, but that
Yeah.
answers the question.
So what I want to do is, as I'm doing that, I want to set a water station in that line down frost-free that'll help me water the cemetery, being I get the old line.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, all right, back to the 3. Any questions? You want to go one by one?
Is that uniform, I mean, like the other, it's uniform? to
Yes,
what
and
the
I
others are, right?
apologize, I thought I threw.
No,
it
that's
in.
all right, I just,
And I
yes or
did.
no? I
In
mean,
the regular rules, okay, what we have is we have monuments, the standard monuments, and then we have verticals.
Yeah,
And when I came, we had some issues, we clarified a little bit. Verticals mainly, they can go taller in the cemetery, but it has to be narrower.
Oh, okay.
And the reason we do this is because I have to dig behind them. And I don't want to move these expensive things, but I don't
Right,
have to.
right.
So how I design the verticals, I can literally get the people in side by side without messing with that vertical by the size I've chosen. Okay? Well, that's fine out there, but as cremation garden, I don't want tall stuff out there.
Sure.
But we designed this cremation garden because cremation 1 and 2, they're little stones. They can't be very tall. Okay? So as the more you buy out there, like if you buy more, like 4 lots in a row,
Right.
people want to cover that 4 lots, so that's 20 feet. Okay? Just so you know. So
Wow.
we have all our rules in here are max standards. It's not requirement, it's a max
Right.
standard.
okay,
Okay, so if they want to cover a longer distance, I'm okay with that in cremation garden like out in the cemetery, but we had allowed out in the cemetery to get a little taller,
mm,
and I don't want to do that in cremation.
right,
And the heights out in the cemetery is restricted so we can dig,
mm,
and some it gets a little tough without
Okay.
moving. Have I broke them loose and turned them? Sure have.
yeah,
Have had to. But this is more of a, it's not about a digging thing, because we hand dig them. And where we get in and we carry buckets and stuff, so we're okay. But I don't want someone's loved one, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes in, buys in front of them, and puts this tower, and
Sure.
they can't see their stone.
right, right,
30 inches on a normal person you can see. Can you see it from your car? Maybe not. That's what Leanne was worried. Leanne and I fight about this all the time, so I use her, and so we debate to figure it out. And she's like, maybe 30's too tall. And I'm like, no, that's the whole reason I did this. So when you stand and walk out, you'll be able to see your loved one over 30 inches, if that makes sense. And 30 inches is the height the max height requirement for a single lot. I just want to do it over the rest of them. I don't want to let them gain to 54 inches, or what it is. I think that's what it was. Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Okay,
So you don't have a problem with the base or the tablet, correct?
Length. correct.
Okay.
They can stay with the standard rules of
Okay.
a
And
normal,
then in the rule number 2, you would like it to be no higher than 30 inches,
I want to drop that to
correct?
30, yep.
And in the back row, they can be taller, leaving it up to your discretion.
Yeah, so what I put in on my notes here was the 3 with the 30 inches, and the next row, for taller stones, must be back row and approved by the sexton. That's no different than out in a full lot out in the cemetery.
Right, right.
Because you guys allowed, before they had to bring any odd stone to the board. And don't get me wrong, columbarium's different, really big stuff, I'm coming to the board. But you guys said, so it's only once a month, whatever, you said, you can go ahead and make that call. And if you're still okay with that, I am, but I just want you guys to approve that. Follow me?
Absolutely.
So I don't mind taller monuments. We have one over in the first part of cremation 3. Okay, and it's on the row over here, and it's in the back, and the stones on the other side of it face the other way, so they're not blocking anything.
Right,
It's a
right.
little aisle through there. So I'm all about, I want people to honor their loved ones how they want. We
Sure.
just have to have restrictions so we're not
Right,
blocking people.
Right, sure.
So you can do them one at a time, you can do them all, either way, however you want to do it.
Is there any need to do it one at a time?
If you approve the 3 that we've talked about, it'll be in the notes, and we're okay.
I didn't do that. I don't want to be a pig here, but I would move that we accept all 3 of those recommendations from the section.
Second.
Okay, favor.
All in favor, all?
All in favor, yep.
Aye.
Okay. Any questions, Jerry? You probably understand. what
No,
we're
I-
doing.
I've been reading this, watching it.
Well, you're out there quite a bit. You kind of understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because these stones are very expensive, and I'm about done, but to explain what we go through, just the other day, well, when we were off on the holiday, truck driver called, I get him on my phone, I happen to be in Fort Wayne, the message, and he was there to deliver a skid of granite. I don't buy skids of granite, okay? Well, he goes, I really don't want to leave, blah, blah, blah. I didn't answer him because I got it later on, I wouldn't, he'd been gone by then. And dispatch called me, I said, we're closed for the holiday. He shows up, what is today, Thursday? Tuesday. In a box truck, and one of my employees up there, and it's a stone, and I went, stop. He goes, what? I said, I may not take it, which they don't like that. It was a regular stone. It actually came from another cemetery through another monument company. So all I had was paperwork, and I went, had a number, and I said, let me call, and I said, I can't accept this. And they're like, well, it has to be delivered there or whatever, and I said, who's gonna set it? He said, I don't know. I said, that's one reason I'm not accepting it. One, I sign that sheet, I pull that off, that stone gets damaged, the cemetery gets to buy that person another stone.
Yeah.
I'm not a monument company. We used to have this problem with internet ones. We won't, if an internet one shows up, it goes back. I shipped one back to California. Should have been in that conversation with that. Okay? Yeah, it wasn't good. Mine was fine. But anyway, so long story short, this lady was going to another cemetery, decided to come to Oakwood, and then went through Ron Redpath. Because Ron Redpath, Anita from Redpath called and said, why didn't you take this? I said, because I can't. She thought the funeral home that owns the cemetery brought it to us. That would have been okay, because they would accept it, except I would have had to talk with them, who's setting this stone?
Yeah,
You know me.
yeah.
And it has to be sealed down. Foundation was poured in the second pour, I found out. And so the lady's foundation was there. So I refused it, it went back South Bend and they're working it out, so. But it has to be a monument company, and they'll say, well, we'll call a local one. But local one doesn't want to set it, they made no profit off this.
Yeah, yeah.
Follow me? So it's a tough
And
area.
these things are expensive.
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah, and this was a great, this was
Yeah.
not a big, huge, but it was still, they're all expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was tied down, it was all good, but the guy started pulling, stop, I don't want out of that truck,
yeah, yeah.
It about cost me one a long time ago, before this, because I didn't want it to go back, upset the family, had a crack in it, and they were gonna make me buy a new one. I'm like, I'm not. But technically, if they pushed it, I probably would, because I accepted it. Don't want to, it's not our business.
Yeah.
So, just to tell you, that stuff still goes on. Internet is a tough one, and I feel sorry for the people, because they get on, and they are cheaper. And your internet stone guys, we'll ship it free of charge to any cemetery you want. These people don't know it has to be set, foundation has to be poured
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
So I just go, no. I said, the only thing I accept is government ones. So,
yeah, yeah.
because they come that way.
Mhm.
They've been signed, sent to me, no, I'm gonna get them. Now, have I sent a few of them back? Cracked? Different stuff, but we inspect them before we take them out.
So if someone's already done this via the internet, and you get it, and you say, yeah, I'm not taking that, I mean, that stone's, I mean, it's not like they can erase that with a dry eraser and redo it, I mean.
No, because they paid for a stone, and it goes back to that stone company. Like I said, one went back to California.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
And when we put all this together, because you guys had made a rule about that, is, was happening on that one, and they were begging me to keep it, and I'm like, no, I can't, because I'm liable. And then I went through, I said the same thing, who's setting it? They go, what? I said, well, who's paying for the foundation? Well, you're just putting one in, aren't you? Say, nope, can't. can't tell. And we'll find them showing up on the ground on the grass.
Really?
Yeah, they're back in the, by the shop, yeah. They'll just come out and go, yeah. So, anyway, just some stuff we deal with to make you aware of it.
Yeah.
When we get done, whenever that is and stuff, and if you guys wanna come out and see what we're progress or whatever, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, let us
Love,
know.
love having you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see how we're organizing and trying to keep things up. I don't want Jerry there because there's too much equipment. And he'll- Well, you got all this work. Last thing, and I'm sorry I'm holding up way too long because it's only 10 after 7, it's never moved.
Right.
We're, in my budget this year is I think we talked about it, is a new backhoe, okay, or track hoe. I've priced one from Bobcat, did it beforehand to put it in the budget. Council accepted it. Don't quote me on the money. It was 40, let's say 46, 47,000. This is a $111,000 hoe, just so you know. They're giving me more money for the one I have now than I paid for it. Great discount, okay? I'm happy with it. Well, Jerry, you're gonna have to help me because I don't do this. Dustin is very good at this. There's a company you can go through because of this $50,000 rule that they can help you bid process so you don't have to put it out for sealed bids. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the company. Something Source. Anyway, Dustin needs a 60, that's what I'm getting is a 60, and wastewater wants a 60, so there's 3. So he said, why don't we put these together? And the only difference in this bid is Dustin and I have one to trade in, wastewater does not, this is their first one. They've started a construction thing or whatever. Anyway, when the smoke clears, by doing it this way, I saved an additional 11,000 in this machine. Just saying. It all
You get
worked.
a bulk discount?
Huh?
You getting a bulk discount?
No, what happened is they'd send it to this, whatever source,
This
it's on the tip of
company,
my
okay.
tongue, but then your locals can bid with them, and the thing is, what's a win-win is, Bobcat bid against it, but who won was Bobcat headquarters,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
okay? So it's still Bobcat, Warsaw's still gonna service us, it's all a
Right.
win-win, and that's what I want it to be.
Right, right,
That's
sure.
what I want, okay? But with this, it just, I mean, the quote came in and Bobcat goes, I can't beat that. Bobcat
Yeah.
headquarters did.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I just went, I was happy with the other one with this machine. I mean, it's the amount of this machine, what it costs. So anyway, so that was a little blessing. Not that I won't eat it up, Jerry, because I'm having trouble getting my truck, just so you know. So, but anyway, I'm sorry, I'm done, unless you have questions for me.
No,
Doing a great job now.
No,
Appreciate
I
it.
think it's-
Thank you.
February the 2nd.
So-
Groundhog Day. Do we have to do it more than once?
Yeah, we have to do
Do we have to
it.
more than
No.
once? Oh, okay.
All right,
We good?
well done, okay.
Sure.
Meeting is adjourned then.
And one thing I did tell you, and I'll tell you the next meeting, but he did start, my 6th employee started,
Oh, good.
Yay,
Good.
for you.
Good, good, good.
Braxton, with his first name.
Okay.
Very good.
Look how dark it is out.
Yeah. It's, well, it's 7:10.
It's disgusting.